noted poet Carl Sandburg described Chicago as the city of the big shoulders, hog butcher for the world, tool maker, stacker of wheat. Chicago, stormy, husky, brawling, flare with railroads and the nation's freight handler. Show us another city, he says, another city with lifted head singing so proud to be alive and coarse and strong and cunning. Chicago, bragging and laughing that under its wrist is the pulse and under its ribs the heart of the people. And it was on this Chicago city of stain and steel, skyscraper and hovels, stark streets and grass-lined boulevards that lions from 45 free nations of the world converged during the first week of July 1953 to celebrate the completion of a year to be remembered, our greatest yet. A warm welcome is given to International President Edgar M. Elbert, Mrs. Elbert, and their son Phil upon their arrival from their home in nearby Maywood, Illinois. Into the runway at the world's busiest airport glides a plane carrying incoming International President S.A. Dodge and Mrs. Dodge from their home in Detroit, Michigan. Early arrivals, such as past International Director Harold Curran of Syracuse, New York, found registration a relatively simple and unhurried task. That was on Sunday, July the 5th, the day that registration began. Two days later, however, when delegates really began arriving in force, it was an entirely different scene. The exhibition hall of the Palmer House Hotel was a bustling mass of humanity as delegates scurried from booth to booth to sign the registration and to present their credentials. This hall remained open throughout the 5-day convention as a central place for dispersing information and a showcase for lion exhibits from many states and nations. Amid its magnificent confusion, hospitality books are distributed and bulging boodle bags are concrete evidence of the lion's generosity. The Lions of North Carolina thoughtfully provided an oasis in this desert of milling multitudes by making lounge chairs available for people with dog-tired dogs. A booth is also erected to disperse information on the new Lions home. Here delegates get a better understanding of just what this special fund is buying to provide the world's largest service club organization with a home of its own. Wednesday morning breaks clear and cool, ideally suited for the gigantic Lions Parade. Here, in early morning shadows of towering skyscrapers, last-minute preparations and instructions are the order of the day. Then, they're off. Spearheaded by a contingent of Chicago's finest mounted police, the great show gets underway. Leading the procession are the international officers and directors and the past international presidents, riding in luxurious convertibles furnished by the Plymouth Motor Corporation and the Chicago Plymouth dealers. The first musical unit in this 3.5-hour parade is a U.S. 5th Army Band. Chicago's Mayor Connelly joins other notables in the reviewing stand at the Congress Street Plaza to watch the spectacular array of floats, bands, and delegations in uniform march down the magnificent mile of marble facades along Chicago's most famous boulevard, Michigan Avenue. A total of 55 bands and other musical units participated in the parade, thrilling the spectators with their colorful uniforms and stirring music. Though normally separated by half a world, the delegations from Puerto Rico and the Philippines were neighbors in this parade. Pass the salt, would you, Bud? Ohio's prize-winning float consisted of a series of 8 jeeps, each carrying a Lion member dressed as one of 8 United States presidents, each of whom was born in the Buckeye State. An estimated 500,000 people watched the Lions strut their stuff along the 2.5 mile parade route. Looks like the Missouri Lions have transplanted a bit of the Ozark Mountains right into the center of the big city. The various units in this parade are marching in reverse alphabetical order, with Illinois as the host state marching at the end of the parade. This is the Mississippi Lions All-State Band, outfitted in rebel uniforms. In the Lions float competition, this one carried off top honors. Adding another bit of international flavor to the festivities is this bagpipe band from the state of Michigan. And still they come, these Michigan marchers. Yes, Michigan really turned out in force to honor their local boy who made good in a big way, International President-elect S.A. Dodge. And now comes Louisiana and the high school band from Bossier City. This prize-winning float transported the choir from Centenary College in Shreveport, Louisiana. From across the blue Pacific came this enthusiastic Hawaiian delegation from their tropical island home. These Lady Lions from Georgia traveled the parade route the easy way, sitting down. Direct from the Okefenokee swamps in southern Georgia came this musical hoedown group. Yes, ma'am, that's a show-enough, real live baby alligator. And that baby boa constrictor ain't no toy neither, Junior. Precision Plus is the specialty of this crack drill team known as the Spanish Town Dons from the Golden State of California. Truly awe-inspiring is this proud array of the flags of the free nations of Lionism as they are borne proudly by the California Lions past thousands of cheering spectators. From the Rocky Andean area in the heart of South America came this handsome delegation of Lions. Leading the Illinois delegation was the high school band of Joliet, one of the prize winners. Imagine doing this for 2½ miles. Or this. Illinois not only walked off with first prize in the delegations in uniform contest, but also had a pair of prize-winning bands, a float winner, and 2 drum and bugle corps which won prizes. The parade is over now, and we made a quick trip out to Comiskey Park where President Edgar Elbert throws out the first ball which gets the game underway between the Chicago White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. Hometown rooters were pleased when the White Sox emerged triumphant. It's Wednesday evening now, and we make our first trip out to the Chicago Stadium where immediate past President Harold Nutter calls the convention to order, and President and Mrs. Elbert are escorted to the platform by the past presidents. Dr. C.C. Reed, the senior past international president in attendance, introduces President Elbert to the convention. Like Lion meetings everywhere, this session commences with a prayer. Chicago's Democratic mayor and Illinois' Republican governor extend messages of welcome to the visiting Lions. And Vice President Humberto Valenzuela of Santiago, Chile, responds. 6 Texas lovelies from Lon Morris College sparked this opening session. Here, it is the pleasure of your Director General to present his report on the accomplishments of another great Lionistic year. Principal speaker of the evening was Miss Helen Keller, a truly remarkable lady who has overcome the handicaps of deafness and blindness to become a living inspiration and symbol for handicapped people everywhere. And now the International President reports his first-hand observations of Lionism in action throughout the free world as he recalls the experiences of his 210,000 miles of traveling during the past year. Climax of the opening session is the flag presentation ceremony. For as long as most Lions can remember, this colorful pageant has been a part of the opening session's festivities. Tonight, under the direction of Vice President Monroe L. Newt, the flags of Lionism are again presented. And so we salute these flags of the 45 free nations of Lionism. We salute them reverently and with sincere feeling. Each of us extends to his own flag and his own nation, of course, his deepest devotion. But all of us, I believe, feel a great sense of pride in the fact that we can salute also the flags of other Lion nations as we do here, without any thought of disservice to his own. Special recognition is being given to the flags of the 8 nations which joined the Lions family of international friendship and service during the past year, and have extended to 45 the number of countries that make up this great international brotherhood of Lions International. Yes, truly, Lionism on every continent of the globe covers the world. Thursday morning. Let's sneak in here quietly at the Conrad Hilton Hotel and see what's cooking, literally. That sure does taste good. Yep, looks like everything's all set for the ladies' breakfast. Well, that was quick. Breakfast is all over now. And here the ladies enjoy a song fest as Mrs. Elbert gets ready to preside at the fashion showing presented by Marshall Field and Company. There were clothes for every occasion. Evening, afternoon, sport. Oh, excuse me, I meant night. This one, I understand, had a price tag of $1,800. No wonder the ladies looked it over so carefully. Out at the Chicago Stadium, in the meantime, President Elbert has called to order the second session of the convention and introduced District Governor Bill Tresice, who reports on the progress of Lionism in Australia. Uh-oh, Edgar forgot his cigar. District Governor Gert Inbaum reports for the clubs in Sweden. And Elbert, there's your cigar again. Another Scandinavian Lion, District Governor Herbert Arshagen, tells of the extension of Lionism in Finland. Frank Nixon and George Dolton tell of the enthusiasm for Lionism engendered by the spontaneous response of Lions clubs throughout the world during England's flood last year. Musical diversion is provided by a beautiful young lyric soprano, Marilyn Powell, prior to the impressive necrology service which closed Thursday morning's plenary session. Many of those who are not attending the discussion forums and schools of instruction, which are in session this afternoon, take advantage of the delightful weather to do a bit of sightseeing. This is Chicago's Buckingham Fountain, one of the most beautiful and famous fountains in all the world. Another famous Chicago landmark, the non-dues paying line which stands in front of the Art Institute. And this is the river that runs backward, the Chicago River. And there, like a giant wedding cake, stands the famous Wrigley Building. And this is the Tribune Tower. Our tour ends where the old water tower thrust heavenward its slender finger of stone. It's Thursday evening now as we return to the stadium where we are the guests of the Lions of Michigan. The entertainment gets off to a lively start as the famous Zouave drill team demonstrates its precision and skill before an enthusiastic audience. The clop, clop, clop of wooden shoes echoes throughout this huge auditorium as these Dutch dancers from Holland, Michigan add an international flavor to the evening's diversion. Boy, this fella is really busy. He should have been born a centipede. During the intermission, the Lions of Michigan pay honor and tribute to their greatest lion, incoming international president S.A. Dodge of Detroit, and to his very gracious and vivacious wife, Verna. Capping this excellent evening of entertainment is Phil Spitalny and his all-girl orchestra, featuring Evelyn and her magic violin. In the finale, the audience joins in the singing of old-time favorites. Up and at 'em. Here it is Friday morning already, and here we are back at the Conrad Hilton Hotel for the key members' breakfast. It's only 7 o'clock, but this bright-eyed crowd is on hand in full force to take in this particular phase of the convention activities. Some members are here to receive the coveted Key Awards, which they had earned during the past year. Others are here to accept the International President's Banner for honors won during the membership contest. Still others are present to take custody of loving cups won by their clubs. But for most, this is a time for relaxation and enjoyment. So here at 7 o'clock in the morning, we find dancers, comedians, jugglers, airlists, and other top-notch professional entertainment putting on a floor show. The entire show is not limited to professional talent, it seems. Here, some of the Lion officers and directors are trying to break into show business the hard way. Now, while these fellows are catching their breath, let's you and me slip back out to the stadium for this morning's business session. Principal speaker today is Basil O'Connor, president of the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis. Well, well, look who's done it again. Mr. O'Connor warns the Lions against letting business become so big that it might snuff out individual liberties. The Lions Club Orchestra from Pecos, Texas provides a few minutes of diversion from the business of the day. Chairman of the nominating committee, Frank V. Birch, presents his committee's report and presides during the seconding speeches which closed the session. Demonstrations are the order of the day as favored sons are nominated for high offices in Lionism. This afternoon we attend the regatta where we enjoy 3 full hours of thrills, chills, and spills as some of the world's fastest outboard motorboat drivers compete for handsome prizes. Even an occasional ducking fails to dampen the enthusiasm of these drivers. Wish we could spend more time here, but we must rush back to the stadium again to take in the early showing of the International Night Review. This review is an outstanding event of every Lions convention, and of course this year is no exception. Under the direction of Lions Sid Page, an impressive array of top-notch talent, headlined by Rudy Valley, thrills the audience, which responds with thunderous applause. The beauty of this dance and the pleasures of this night will not soon be forgotten. Into that special corner of our hearts, which we reserve only for our most treasured thoughts, go the memory of this night. It's Saturday now, the last morning of the convention. President Elbert says it takes a king-size gavel to do a king-size job as he gets the final session underway. After hearing reports on the credentials and the resolutions from past international directors, James Sherrill and George Dole, we see Dr. Alfred C. Boehm, chairman of the local convention executive committee, being presented with a gift in appreciation of his efforts. And now, a musical selection by the first prize-winning male quartet from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Saturday morning's featured speaker is the Honorable R.B. Anderson, Secretary of the Navy of the United States, a former classmate and debate partner of your narrator. Presenting the newly elected Board of Governors for the 1953-54 fiscal year. And just a few of the 258 district governors for the new year. Retiring District Governor Maurice Perstein reports on District 4's California Nevada's Operation Philippines. These are only a few of the members of the newly chosen Board of International Relations. These are the plaques which will adorn the new Lions building when it is occupied next year. On stage, Lion officials sit silently waiting the announcement of the results of this morning's election. And at long last, here they come. Jack Stickley has been elected to the office of third vice president of Lions International. Humberto Valenzuela is elected second vice president. Monroe L. Newt is the new first vice president. And surprise of surprises, S.A. Dodge is elected president. Here the new president is joined by his family, and a gigantic demonstration of enthusiastic support precipitates itself among the boisterous spectators. When the tumult and the shouting dies, the retiring president presents the newly chosen leader with a presidential ring, which symbolically weds him to the purposes and ideals of Lionism. President Dodge accepts the responsibilities of his high office humbly, yet with alacrity. Then, with the singing of Old Lang Syne, we ring down the curtain on another great Lions International Convention. Now, as these delegates rush to catch the planes, trains, cars, and buses which will carry them back to the four corners of the earth from whence they came, they take with them a deeper, fuller understanding of the fundamental principles, the noble purposes, and the lofty ideals which have made the Lions the world's greatest service club organization.